the rise of Trudeau, charisma and hope. Justin Trudeau's entry into Canadian politics was marked by a wave of optimism and excitement. The son of former Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau, he inherited a legacy and a name recognized across Canada. Young, charismatic and promising progressive change, Trudeau captured the attention of Canadians who were yearning for a departure from the previous Conservative government. His message of hope and inclusivity resonated with voters, propelling him to a decisive victory in the 2015 federal election. For a moment it seemed Canada had entered a new era of progressive politics. Canadians saw in Trudeau a leader who could unite a divided nation. His early days in office were marked by symbolic gestures of reconciliation with Indigenous communities and a commitment to diversity and inclusion. The world took notice. Trudeau graced magazine covers and was lauded internationally for his progressive stance on issues like climate change and LGBTQ+ rights. He became a symbol of a modern, forward-thinking Canada. However, beneath the surface of Trudeau-mania lurked a sense of skepticism. Critics questioned his experience and his ability to deliver on his ambitious promises. Some saw him as a political lightweight, more style than substance. Only time would tell if Trudeau could truly usher in a new era of Canadian politics, or if his tenure would be marked by unfulfilled expectations. Storms on the horizon, controversies and unfulfilled promises. As Trudeau's time in office wore on, the initial euphoria surrounding his leadership began to fade. A series of scandals and controversies tarnished his carefully crafted image and eroded public trust. The blackface scandal, in which photos emerged of Trudeau in brownface and blackface makeup on multiple occasions, cast a dark shadow over his claims of promoting diversity and inclusion. The SNC-Lavalin affair raised serious questions about his political judgment and his commitment to ethical governance. Trudeau's handling of the SNC-Lavalin affair, in which he was accused of pressuring his former Attorney General to intervene in a criminal case against the engineering firm, further damaged his reputation. His decision to vacation on the private island of the Aga Khan, a close family friend, while promoting himself as a champion of the middle class, reinforced perceptions of elitism and hypocrisy. Furthermore, Trudeau's aggressive stance on the case of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Canadian citizen killed in India, strained relations with a key economic partner. His parliamentary conduct, including accusations of physically intimidating opposition members, further fueled the narrative of a leader out of touch with democratic principles. These missteps chipped away at Trudeau's carefully constructed persona, revealing a more complex and less flattering reality. A mixed bag environmental policy and economic challenges. Trudeau's environmental policy was a complex mix of ambition and contradiction. He championed the fight against climate change on the world stage, signing Canada onto the Paris Agreement and implementing a national carbon tax. The Net Zero Emissions Accountability Act, mandating emissions targets for 2050, showcased his commitment to tackling this global challenge. However, his decision to purchase and expand the Trans Mountain Pipeline, a controversial project opposed by environmentalists and many Indigenous communities, cast a long shadow over his environmental credentials. While Trudeau made strides in advancing environmental protection, his government's record on economic issues proved more turbulent. The COVID-19 pandemic presented unprecedented challenges, forcing Trudeau to navigate a public health crisis while also managing the economic fallout. His government's response, while lauded for its initial swiftness, drew criticism for its handling of the economic recovery. Trudeau's decision to raise interest rates aggressively to combat inflation placed a heavy burden on Canadians already struggling with the rising cost of living. His government's inability to effectively address the housing crisis, which saw home prices skyrocket across the country, further alienated many Canadians, particularly young people struggling to enter the housing market. These economic headwinds contributed to a decline in Trudeau's popularity and set the stage for his eventual resignation. The legacy of a great pretender a nation reflects. Justin Trudeau's resignation in January 2025 marked the end of a tumultuous era in Canadian politics. His departure, driven by a confluence of factors including waning public support, internal party dissent, and the looming threat of electoral defeat left Canadians grappling with the legacy of a leader who had promised so much yet delivered on so little. While Trudeau's supporters pointed to his achievements on climate change, social justice issues, and his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, his critics argued that his legacy would be defined by broken promises, scandals, and a failure to live up to his own lofty rhetoric. The great pretender narrative, used by his detractors to describe Trudeau's time in office, captured the sense of disillusionment felt by many Canadians. His initial charisma and promise had given way to a more cynical reality, one where style often trumped substance and where political expediency often took precedence over principled leadership. As Canada moved forward, the lessons learned from Trudeau's tenure would undoubtedly shape the country's political landscape for years to come. The challenges of addressing climate change, economic inequality, and social divisions remained, demanding thoughtful and courageous leadership. Whether Trudeau's successors could learn from his mistakes and chart a new course for Canada remained to be seen. Only time would tell if Trudeau's time in office would be remembered as a period of missed opportunities or as a catalyst for meaningful change.